Good afternoon, viewers, or good morning, because it depends on where you are. We are online already. We have three. Good morning. Yes, already we have three. We have three participants in the panel. I don't know what you are getting me. Are you getting me, Doctor Paul?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Yes. So,
Loud and clear.
so thank you.
All right. Um,
Then it is your time. It is your time now. It is your time now to get started.
yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I know that this program is being designed to help professionals to have a basic understanding of how to testifying and expert witnessing. And since I'm the one that is starting it, I would like to refer to the great author, one of author, expert witnessing. So in his uh, in his textbook, he also gave four main functions of expert testimony and offered an advice how to fulfill their duties. And one of the key things that he referred to is to establish a fact. As an expert witness, you have to establish a fact. And then you also talk about interpreting that fact. And you also make it clear to us that you comment on opposing expert facts and opinions. And you see that, and the third other thing that it make reference is you have to define a professional standard, you know, of a particular thing, and as an expert, what do you do? That means that opposing opinions. So that means that when you are going to testify as an expert witness, you should also make in mind that there is going to be opposing view. So you should be able to what exactly you need to do as an expert witness that will help others. You know, you have to make sure that as an expert witness, you should say only those things that you know and which you are confident of. There should be no conflict of interest because as an expert witness, people rely on you and your credibility is at stake. And that is why before ever you go to for expert witnessing, you have to make preparation. And let it be that your preparation should be brief. You should be brief. You should be able to make sure that your writing should be brief so that you should be able to defend what you are doing. And also, you should avoid ambiguity in it. You should avoid ambiguity in your reporting. And also you should also avoid generalization. As an expert, you want to go straight to the fact because people are listening. Then you should also try to show charts, some kind of digital images to support what you are saying, because people always tend to understand better when they see things with their eyes. And also, you should also make sure that you should refer your case, because you, as an expert, you should be able to refer to somebody else what somebody have done and all that to validate your argument. And make sure that you check your report very, a thorough way, so that people will not misconstrue what you are saying. And one other key thing that I want us to really understand is this: as an expert witness, what really qualifies you to be an expert witness? What really qualifies you to be an expert witness? Many a times people are, I want to make the distinction between consulting experts and an expert witness. You see, sometimes when a lawyer or somebody wants to go to court, he might have consulting with others experts before he will go. That is consulting expert. That means that he's not going to the court to testify. He's not the expert witness, but he's a consulting expert. So, but once the person turns to consulting, expert witnesses is a different ball game altogether. All right. So that is why it is always good that you have to keep in mind. You have to keep in mind that you keep all records straightened, and because you are going to go into higher scrutiny when you become an expert witness. So what really qualifies you to be an expert witness? What really qualifies you to become an expert witness? So now, as an expert witness, the court will always see things in a different perspective, because the court, the court has already defined who is an expert witness, because cases have been tested. Like the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court here in the United States, in a Dabat case, is tend to bring a standard. It tend to bring a standard for where there are things that will be asked. Two things that will be asked. We said, is this person qualified as an expert witness? That one has to be in your mind. Then the other thing we go, will the expert witness, assist in the jury to understand the evidence or determine the fact or at the issue? So as an expert witness, you must be able to understand the issue at stake. Okay? You must be able to understand the issue at stake. And this is the qualifications that you have to understand. What really, as an expert witness, they look at your formal education and they look at your years of experience. So, and now this based down to the fact that as an expert witness, is this person, is he been honored? Is he got awards on what the field of which he has been engaged on? Or you go further to say, what license did this person have? Or what certification does this person have in this field? What is the other technical trainings that this person have acquired? And what is that books that he has written? Has he written any peer review? Is anything published on the area of on this area where others have critiqued what he has done? What is his present position? What is his position, both past and present? So, and the organizations that he belongs to, and what is his position? What has he been doing in that field? So there are a lot of questions that will be asked, and all these questions are there to validate you, to make you to be, accepted. So one thing that we must understand in Dabat fact, we call it Dabat fact, and there are four important things that you must put in mind as an expert witness. Four things that we ask. The court listed 4 factors to be considered. Now, the number one is whether the theory or technique believed upon the expert has been tested. What is the basis of your argument? What theory are you using? What is the concept are you using? Is that concept being tested? So, because everybody that goes to testify as an expert, you base it on something, some theory that of which you found upon. Then another thing that you have to understand is whether it has been subjected by peer review in publication. The things that you publish, as you publish anything, like as I said before, have you make any publication? If they Google your name, they will see what and what you've written. Has it been, tested? Is there any, what is the view of people, your peers about it? The other thing that we have to understand, how relevant are you in the scientific community? Whether it is generally accepted, so your view. So for you an expert witness, you need to show some work that you've done, and then what is the high level of error that has been rated. Do you know that everybody is rated? People has a lot of rating and all that, but that is not good enough. You see that you will further go and understand that, regardless of your experience, regardless of your certificates that you are, it's not good enough. Because the moment, as an expert, you are going to be real scrutiny. They are going to look to your integrity. Are you really ready for people to scrutinize you, to go back to your past? Because your past is going to hurt you. So, if the premise is wrong, the conclusion is wrong. So if you have a wrong premise, you will end up, your testimony is going to count against you. And that is why, as an expert, your integrity will be tested in court. Because if they have to find out where have you done this before. So if you are going to be an expert witness, you have to put your house in order. And there are things that you need to avoid. You should be able to, when you are going to be an expert witness, the way you dress matters a lot. And you should always tell the truth. You should always tell the truth. Because when you are talking to people, they are going to look at you from a perspective that you don't understand. People are going to find out your background. The education that you have, do you really have that qualification? What you claim in your resume, do you really have it? It will be tested. So if you start in the wrong premise, it's going to hurt the case. And I don't think that anybody who is taking you for an expert witness will be happy, because you're throwing away the case because the moment you go there to testify and the opposite side be able to get a dent on you, it's going to affect your credibility. So credibility matters a lot. Credibility matters a lot. You have to make sure that when you are talking, you should have eye contact. You should have eye contact. And also you should know what you are talking about, because your case will be tested. Your work history, and people are going to look into your work history. Where have you worked? Why, if you were fired, why were you fired? They're going to ask you, they're going to scrutinize you, because we know that to them much is given, much is required. So probably you've worked for 30 years. Yes, it's a good thing, you've been in that field for 30 years. You have a long experience to share with people. But you have to be truthful. You have to be truthful and make sure that when you are speaking to them, be clear. Don't use words that others will not understand. So I tell you that to be an expert witness is a privilege. You have to look at examine yourself to see what really make you to be an expert witness. What really qualify you to become an expert witness? And also I will advise that, you should try as much as possible, you should know what you are going there for. One other thing that as an expert witness, you should try to know, you should know the issue at stake. And that is the concern of the court. Whether this person is able to understand the issue in this matter. So you know what you are going to testify, be an expert witness for. Because it's not fair for you to say things that you're supposed not to say. Go straight to the point. Go to the point that you are asked for. If they ask you a question, go straight to it. If you don't know it, don't guess. Don't guess. If you don't know it, you don't know it. Yes, but you have to know what you are going there for. I think expert witness is a great privilege, and you know that you are building a bridge between the public and the court system, and even those that are looking for the truth. So, the base of expert witness, is to understand that you are giving out your view on an issue. You see, your view on an issue based on basic principles and basic principles, and to understand that it has been tested. You know what you are talking about. All right. So that is a great thing. And you should understand that whatever thing you are doing in the court as an expert witness is in record. You don't want to do the wrong thing, then that thing coming back to hurt you. So you need due diligence. Prepare yourself before you can go to the court to testify. Right? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Paul, for your short brief. That is a very nice presentation on expert witnessing. As I said earlier, expert witnessing is a very important aspect of an investigative expert. If one gets involved in any kind of investigation as an expert or as a professional, he must be sure that his work will end up in a court of law, and therefore he will be summoned, or she will be summoned to go attend the court and testify on the findings. This is why the members and even also students should understand very well what expert witnessing is, and what the courtroom procedures look like, and also the best practices when you are already in the witness box, what you are doing. We have several viewers who have already joined in, and as I've already indicated, and even there is a message on the screen, is that this today is a free flow interactive session. So you can make a comment online or post your question for discussion. Today is not a day for lecturing. This is a day for discussion and sharing of experiences. So you are welcome. I will bring in the next person to give us a word or two as we wait for questions from you viewers, so that we continue. Stacy, over to you. Do you have something to say?
Yes, thank you very much, my president. Good
Please.
afternoon, viewers. Good afternoon, panel.
Good afternoon.
I'll be talking on the aspect of confidence and consistency as an expert witness. It is worthy to note the fact that as an expert witness, when you are found presenting yourself in the court of law as a witness for any case, it's important that you wear the cloth of confidence. Don't forget, it's not your word against the suspect, but rather your word against the lawyers. One thing you can be rest assured is the fact that the lawyers there are going to have you on your toes, because they'll do everything humanly possible to see that they strip you of your confidence. They're going to do everything to see to it that they showcase in the court of law that you are not qualified to give that witness, to be an expert witness. And so you must be confident at all time as an expert witness. Again, there must be this level of consistency. You must be consistent. You cannot say one thing and repeat something different from what you have said before. So consistency is very, very key. And so it's something that you must take home as an expert witness, that when I present myself in the court of law, I must be presenting something that is verifiable, that even when tested, it is seen to be valid. And at the same time, you cannot contradict yourself at any point in time. Many a times you find the lawyer asking you the same question over and over again. The person is just because he wants to destabilize you. So you must be confident. You must be consistent at all time. Again, you must, as a matter of necessity, ensure that whatever evidence you are presenting in that court of law must be one that has passed through the forensic testing. It must be one that has passed through the type of testing that we call substantive testing, that you are sure that even if another party does that, is going to come back the same result. So meaning that you cannot afford to present evidence that is unverifiable, evidence that is not valid, evidence that you cannot prove. Borrowing from the word of my co-panelist, Dr. Manis, who said that you must ensure that whatever you're bringing to that court is something that, if an investigation is carried out or such testing is conducted again, it is seen to be showing the same result. So meaning that at every point in time, you're going to stand as expert witness and you're going with evidence. It has to be one that will be verifiable, provable, and valid. And also timely. It has to be timely and must relate to the case that is at hand. Very, very important. There should be no ambiguity. At every point in time, you're seen to be simple and straight to it. On this note, I'd like to just stop and hand over the microphone to the next panelist, please. My president, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Stacy from Abuja, Nigeria. For the viewers, Dr. Stacy is our country director, the Iicfip country director in Nigeria, and she's based in Abuja, the capital city of Nigeria. Thank you very much for that nice, short and precise comment. The first presenter panelist was Dr. Paul Mannix, the Continental Director for North America. He is a person with extensive experience in forensic science. Now, I can see that the audience have started participating, and this is what we expect. Please, this is an interactive session, so we request you to do what Hansen Mbwana is a counsel, but I don't know where he comes from. It did not indicate his country, participating with us and is asking the question, how do you deal with a hostile defense counsel? You are an expert witnessing on the side of the prosecution, and you have come up against a very hostile defense counsel. And as usual, they will be too hot and hostile. So, Dr. Mannix, over to you. Can you assist us?
Yes. Thank you very much. All protocols observed. Answering is these are things that are happening everywhere. So, as an expert witness, you should be able to conduct yourself. Your patient can be tested. And that is why self-discipline matters a lot. Because the 1 hour, 2 hours that you will be under scrutiny, they are going to go under your skin. They might not say things that you might not even like. And all that is a strategy to sway you from your focus. Do you know that if people are very hostile, even though they are hostile, as far as they are in the court, they are confined. They are confined to the rules and regulations guiding the procedure. It is by words. They are speaking words, no physical attack. It's words. It's word to word. So now, some words might be very hostile, but the case now goes, they ask you a question, and if you can't answer, you have to be truthful to it. The same time you have your lawyer by your side, something that they ask, if the judge doesn't allow it, you will not. So you have to go be truthful to yourself, but you need to comport yourself, because it's just like in the court, even though we don't see physical, that it's just like you are in the ring. Everything that somebody have is going to throw debt on you. But you should be able to, as your years of experience, that is not only the first time, your years of experience, you should be able to deal with it. And that's why people are trained. People are trained before ever you go to that kind of place. You should have that training. How do you deal with hostile situations? How do you respond? So it's going for expert witnessing, or you need to prepare yourself. You see, you need some expectations. So I don't think that you should follow suit if somebody is hostile. If the person is hostile, you're hostile, it's not going to end well. It puts you down. Somebody trying to pull you down doesn't mean that you got to follow the person down. It is what you allow. You see, you have no control over the bed that flew over your head, but you have control over what perches on you. What comes out from your mouth matters more than what the person is saying. So you have to I will still say you have to comport yourself. You can't avoid it. Those things exist, and it's going to be always there. Some people are aggressive speakers. Some people are not. Some people are conservative. Some people are introverts. Some people are extroverts. So if you meet an extrovert who will say a lot of things within 1 minute, the other person is going to count his words. So it's not going to be the same. So it is depend on what is hostility. How do you define hostility? It's hostility. What you seem to be hostile might not be hostile to somebody else. That is his way of approach of doing things. The aggressiveness, but the other person we see it as hostile. As far as there is no touching, physical combat, if it's word to word, you say words. In the court system, there are words that you cannot say. So if that is done, you can always call to order, but always advise your expert. to calm down, in order to have success in for his word to have credibility. Do you know that if your testimony is if they question you and you become an aggressor, is going to tarnish all your testimonies? You see, so that is why you have to be very careful. You remember what I said, to them much is given, much is required, right? So you got to act like you have to act better than what the other aggressor is doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manix, for that nice response to the question from Handsome Bwana. Anderson Bwana comes from Malawi. Just asked a very nice question, and Dr. Paul Manix has responded very well. At this point, I would like to share with you my life experience. My first time in court to testify was not very good. I did all the processes. I worked with the counsel on my side in direct examination very well. And when I could look at the courtroom, people were really satisfied, and even the presiding judge was very much comfortable with the way I was giving my testimony. When it came to cross-examination, it went through very well to almost the end of it. And then the state council decided to use the technique of asking question, paraphrase it, and ask it again. He did paraphrase the same question requiring the same answer for three times. And when I discovered that he was trying to play with my mind, I became emotional. I didn't know. I became emotional and shouted at him directly, instructing him to stop playing with my mind and trying to make me a fool before the court. Before I could stop reprimanding him, he sat down. And then I heard the presiding judge roaring at me, "Stop that and answer questions as they are put to you. You are not a person to decide." So at that point, I kept quiet and started sweating very much, profusely. And the presiding judge decided to ask the cross-examining counsel to stand up and resume. He stood up and said, "Your Honor, sir, my work is done." I knew I had destroyed my own credibility as the expert witness for just shouting in court, and that case didn't go well. That is my testimony. I saw it. I saw it with my eyes. So when you are being twisted, when this counsel is being hostile, he is looking at trapping you into making certain mistakes that will destroy not only your credibility, but the whole of your testimony and evidence you are going to give in court. So it is advised that against all the adversities, you have to be calm, remain calm, answer questions as they are put to you, whether they are put to you 20 times, but be steadfast, answer them. Even if the question requires the same answer even 7 times and keep quiet. What I would also advise is that this lawyer, if he's so hostile, as Handsome Bwana said, he can even ask you questions outside your findings. Tell him so. That question is outside my findings, and therefore I have nothing to say about it. It's better you say you do not have an answer instead of guessing and you get it wrong. That is my comment. And when I look at the questions and the comments dashboard, yeah, there is one question here. Obafemi Gipe Mileke from Nigeria. The council will want to weaken your evidence to prove to the court that you are not competent to give evidence. Yes, during that time of being hostile, that is the objective of the council, the opposing council. His objective is not only to prove that you are incompetent, you did not do a good job, but to also destroy you as an expert. He can even uh, state in court that you are not competent, you are not qualified to be expert witness. That is a very nice comment from Obafemi Gipe of Nigeria. So when I look at the comments and the questions dashboard, I can see that we have no questions, no further comments. So I'm going back to Stacy to give us our final remarks, and then I come to Dr. Manex. We cross because this was meant to be an interactive session, and therefore, in an interactive session, if there are no participants, then that session dies. So over to you, Dr. Stacy.
Okay, thank you very much, my president. Just to buttress or add to what you have, the question that was put forward by one of the participants, um, in the case of hostility in the court. Like I said before in my first remark, I did say that it's your word against that of the lawyers, and so their duty there is always to question the integrity of what you are going to witness on. Many a times you even find such lawyer questioning the integrity of your certificate. They want to make sure that they make you feel very little. They want to belittle you at every level. They want to let you know that you are not qualified to be an expert witness. Sometimes you will see someone a lawyer putting a question across to you. What school did you go to? Which certificate is this? Which that's it gets to the extent that the lawyer would even tell you that they are not aware of that such school or such institution exists. All is geared towards making sure that they destabilize you. And just like Dr. Manis did say, at every point in time, maintain composure. In fact, give a smile at such instance, as when such arises. Just put on a smile and then be calm all of the time. Don't be tensed up. You don't need to be tensed. When you're tensed, they will throw you off balance. So you must be calm. You must be able to prove your worth as a professional. So at every point in time, you're showcasing your professional this thing, integrity at every level. So, on this note, I like to say that it's important that we as professionals, if it's possible, that we sometimes go to court, to see how these things happen, how these things are done. By the time you attend court session 1, 2, 3 times, you will understand the cross examinations when it is done, so that when you stand as expert witness, you'll be able to, of course, it's an environment you're already used to. You don't go to an environment you're not yet used to, and then you go to stand as expert witness. So as professionals who are coming up, and who one day stand as expert witness, it's important you go to court from time to time. It doesn't have to be your own case. It doesn't have to, you don't need to know the case, but you could go as an observer to see what is happening, so that in the event, like I said, you are put in the witness box, you'll be able to deliver on the job. Thank you very much.
Very good, Dr. Stacy. That is a very good comment. It's very precise, and I think the viewers have enjoyed the responses to that question, and they will be able to take all the advice, will be able to take all the comments that have come from you as the panelists. It is a very advisable that if you are a professional investigator, you do not wait until you have a case in court and then you go there. It's better you do a feast. You do something like an excursion to go and find out what happens in a court, and especially when you hear that there is a court which is hearing a case related to your profession, like cases of corruption, cases of fraud, cases of money laundering, various cases. So you can go there and then watch how the proceedings are going on, because we gain experience by also observing what the others are doing. And before we close, or before I hand over to Dr. Mannix for the closing remarks, we have a question from Obafemi Gipemireke from Nigeria. This question is outside. It's slightly outside what we were discussing today, but since he has put it forward, let us respond to it. Dr. Mannix, can you respond briefly and then give us your closing remarks? And mute, please.
I'm sorry. What I'm saying is that there's always two sides of the story, and it's a very smart idea to see that we look from the other side. How about hostile witness? You know, why do you think that somebody is hostile? Probably as an expert, you know, expert witness, hostile expert witness. I think that is what you mean, because witness can be anybody. You see, the standard that is being required for a witness is what he sees with his eyes, what he knows. But when you say expert, you are all in a more higher standard. So that is what I'm going to look at. If an expert witness is deemed as hostile or hostile expert witness, it's the reverse side of it. You already dent your credibility. It will be very hard, because your testimony, is going to discount your testimony. How do you deal with them? The person is vulnerable. When somebody doesn't listen, is opinionated, how will you convince people? Yeah, you are very aggressive. So when we talk about hostility, depends on what you define to be hostile. Like some people, they have a low tone. Some people have a very high pitch. When they talk, it looks like, they're taking control. Now, some people, it's a strategy. It's a strategy to suppress the other person. That's why I'm saying that hostility depends on how you define it. What you think to be hostile is not hostile. To him, it's a way of presenting his case. It's aggressive. is aggressive. Like, you have to understand, most of the time, the opposing counsel or the opposing side, is using a psychological warfare to control the witness. A psychological warfare to control the witness. How did that happen? Using his physical appearance, that is why sometimes people dress nice. It's a way of intimidating, the way you comport yourself. Already when they see the way you talk, you see the self-confidence that you project is intimidating. So when we are talking about this, it's probably that is in his way, or probably looking at you without blinking their eyes, very constant looking at you. And then all that is to make sure that to intimidate your other side. And also, challenging the space of the witness, or the witness trying to challenge. Most of the time, expert witness doesn't, they sit in a place. They sit in a place. That means that he's confined to a place. Or they give him opportunity, probably he's demonstrating on a board. You see, so that might not be hostile, but he has confidence of what he's saying. So another thing is that the way the people, they ask questions without breathing space, one question to the other, one question to the other. All this is not to allow the expert, to make sure that for him to deviate. So if you are an expert witness, what you need to do is to be consistent. And when your expert is too aggressive, it's not good. So how do you compete now? You allow him to talk his way out. Because sometimes, instead for you to, the more words you give out, the more questions you expose yourself. You are vulnerable. So you need to go straight to the point. So how do you deal with them? Allow it. Give them something to talk about. Then he's going to go off the meat. He will go out of the way. But you don't need to follow him to do that. And that's what the same thing applies to the other side. So how do we challenge the admissibility as an expert witness, even though they are rare? Yes, like as we started, he said that the admissibility is that the court has tested it. You see, there are things that are put in place. Like as I said the first time, did this person ask what really qualified this person to be an expert witness? So now it's not only your credentials. The more you are present in the court system and you are noted as an expert in a field, you see, the more easier for it when you begin to want to go and testify. The more the community of which you belong to accept you as an expert because your works are tested, the better for you. And that is why people write books. People make sure that they are present in the scientific community. All these are going to be, is going to be a plus to you. The organizations you belong to, the certifications you have. So if you are going to be like she's asking, how do we handle challenges of admissibility as an expert witness? You got to you deal with them based on what you've done, because your words will be cross-examined and they will see it. That is why you have to be who you've already claimed to be, because if not, that it's going to be very hard. You see, now, are you certified? Do you know that every country has their own laws, rules, and regulations? Probably because I live in America, I might be speaking in what goes on here, but it might not apply in your country. So you that is working towards being an expert witness, try as much as possible to understand your legal system. You see, the forum where we are today, The forum where we are today is worldwide. It's a global forum. So you might be hearing things from everybody from every place. But I'm going to advise you, go to your country laws, read it, study it. You see, but in general concept is this. The court here in the United States have give criteria how you can be a expert witness. It's from the case law. That this thing has already clarified it. So you have to go to your country, look at the legal system, look at the legal system, the court cases, and sometimes it portrays, you will see cases that have been, past, what have been accepted and what have not been accepted. So you have to familiarize yourself with those cases. It's going to help you. So as an expert witness, first, you have to prepare yourself, making sure that you have the work experience, and also the educationally, then belong to organizations, get validations, and write books, do some publications. And when you do that, it's going to help you. You see, human capacity building is very important. You can't be stagnant all the time. The experience you have yesterday, is different today. If you are counting your experience 20 years ago, 20 years is like, you have to update yourself. You constantly familiarize yourself with the present state of things so that it's not going to count against you. So that's why you attend continuing educational programs are very important, so that your continuing education to enable you to update yourself with the skills and talent and understand the changes that are going on in society or in your legal system. So expert witness, you have a very important role to play, And if you make yourself relevant, for you to have that relevance is for you to acquaint yourself with the present laws and the skills and talent that are needed to update you, so that when you go to court, you'll be saying some things that is meaningful, because your destiny will be tested, your integrity will be tested. Do not have, he that must come to justice must have a clean hand. So before you go to testify, make sure they might ask you things that you've done before. Agree that you did it, agree that you did it. If you really did, if you fall short by omission, but they are going to ask you, and you might think that is hostility. That is not hostility, but it's a fact. So why the court case sometimes need an expert witness to testify? Yes. There was a day I was speaking to somebody. You see, if you go to the court system, there are so many judges that are there that things are new to them. They don't, some people have been there for a long time. And with the changes that is going on, there are a lot of things that are new. So they want people who know it so that they can have a better understanding, so that the jury will have a better understanding. Not every country have jury. I know that Nigeria doesn't have jury. It's judges that makes the decision. So the judges, they need this expertise knowledge, and they want the third party to come so that they will speak and both parties will speak. Do you know that when you bring an expert witness, the other person too will bring an expert witness? So they will hear from things in different dimensions, and they will make their conclusion. It makes their work easier. So an expert witness play a very critical role in the criminal justice system. So we have to encourage that. So I think what Iicfip is doing today is very important because it's helping out a lot of people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Paul. You have answered three questions consecutively. You started with the hostile witness. You went to challenges of admissibility, and finally why expert witnesses are required in court. Now, I wanted you to do the closing remarks. You have not done. So let me comment on the briefly on some of these questions, and then I come back to you. Hostile witness, how to deal with hostile witness. Dr. Paul Mannings approached this question from the side of expert witness. I would approach it through from the side of just a witness in the interview room who decides to be hostile. And hostility in this case, I mean, is not cooperative. He doesn't want to answer questions as they are put it to him by you. Is even seen to be dodgy, is dodging questions. What you should do in this case is simple. Remind him or her that is being interviewed as a witness, and therefore there is no need of behaving like that in the interview room. It's just there to assist the investigation process. If it doesn't give in or accept to cooperate, then your duty and your only duty is to consider that expert as a suspect, because he could be having information about the suspects which he is hiding, because he knows or she knows that if she gives you the information you require from her, the case for the suspect who might be a conspirator is going to be worse. That is why the witness is becoming hostile. So in that case, if it were me, I could just stop the interview and then list that person and preserve him properly for the suspect interviewing stage. I come to the why experts are required in court. In this world, no one knows everything. No one knows everything. The judges, the jury, and even the counsels in the courtroom have not gone to the investigation school. They have not gone through the rigorous training for investigators. So if you did an investigation, for example, of a money laundering case, and you know how complex these cases are, the courtroom requires your expertise to explain it to them, to make them understand what were the tricks the money launderer was using, how what procedures or skills you applied to discover what they did and what you found out. You explain to them clearly so that they get to understand. Because the purpose of the expert witness in court is to assist the court to understand the technical processes that were carried out during investigation. That is what I had to say, and there's a contribution here. Someone is saying that, and Kiru from Botswana is commenting that. Kiru is one of the directors, the training center directors. In fact, he's one of the reading training center directors. That is his comment. And then Andy Sam from Malawi, that is what he is saying. And then Obafemi is saying that this is the kind of interactivity I was talking about, and I think next time we will do better.
I think, President, I want to get I want to explain one clarification, because I know,
Yeah,
based on what we are looking at. Yes, Stacy made it clear that before ever you go for expert witnesses, it's good that you have to meet with your lawyers. The person who has come to take you to go and testify, if it is the prosecutor or the other one, the other opposing side. That is good. That must be done. That means that you got to do preparation before you go out. You know, they have to prep you before you go out, so that everybody will be the same ship instead of jumping off the ship. But also, I want us to understand one thing. As an investigator, probably you work with government, and you're an investigator in an agency. You go for fact findings. That doesn't make you an expert witness. You see, when it is one side, that means that you find out the fact, you give it to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor goes there, and sometimes you will not even go to testify. You will not be there, except there need be that for you to be called to examine you, to find the credibility of your investigations. That is not expert witnessing. Expert witnessing is somebody that outside the two people that are contesting, right? So it will not be an area of only investigation. It can be in anything. Sometimes they might call you to come and testify because they see an area of the issue. That's why the court made it very clear. Did this person who is coming to testify, did he or she understand the legal issue? Sometimes when we are talking about things in the legal perspective, is quite different. Somebody might be morally wrong. Somebody might be morally wrong, but it's not legally. He has not done no crime. It's just like ethics. So, but now the legal issue is there any violation of law? And what is that thing that the court is contesting? So it's not going to be only investigator. It's going to be somebody in another field. So when we talk about expert witnesses, we should not only put it, we should not only limit it to investigation. And that is why people are pre-trials, according to what he's saying. It's true. To ensure that there is no conflict. When I started, we talk about conflict of interest. You see, because when you have conflict of interest, it's going to hurt the whole case. Have you seen situations where judges exclude themselves? Judges exclude themselves because they know that as time goes on, there is going to show up that there's a conflict of interest. So pre-trials is very good. And then we have to still understand that as an expert witness in your field, you might not be an investigator. You might be, probably you are a doctor in a field. Probably they are telling you to come to testify in a key area. Why do you think that people behave this way? You see, so all what you are coming is to make sure that people behave this way. Years of my experience, people are doing this way because of this, because of this, because of this. So when we talk expert witnesses, we shouldn't not just limit it to only investigations. It have to be general context, so that it can help us to say, you know what, it's not we don't limit it. So that's what I want to make it clear. But my final word is that I really appreciate every one of you for giving me the audience and my co-host the opportunity to speak to you concerning this. All what we try to do is to add value to people's life. And I believe that the 1 hour that we spend on discussion, it has added value, and we all have shared our experience together. This is one of the greatest way of learning. Share the professionals coming together, sharing the common knowledge so that we all can progress or can advance in our careers. And that is the most important thing. And I tell you that I'm very grateful to Iicfip, the global president, for giving me the opportunity to speak to you guys worldwide. And I tell you that I will always be pleased to meet people like you one day. And we all will have to discuss issues. And I've met some people I've met in conferences and all that. And it's a very good issue. And it's a nice thing that we keep on doing what we are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Dr. Paul Mannix for your nice presentation and the support throughout this 1 hour of discussion. I also thank Dr. Stacy. He was running somewhere to do a lecture, to have a class. She left before we wind up. So I thank her very much for participating. She has really made this interactive session a good session. I say a big thank you to the viewers and the participants. All of you have participated in one way or the other. That is the way to go. We will be doing this quite often so that we support both our students and our members to learn more and more. Professionals do not stop learning. As Dr. Manek said, you have to keep on sharpening your skills. Carrying research, and even getting involved yourself in public speaking in matters related to your specialty, so that you can easily be recognized as an expert in that area. I thank you very much, and I say bye-bye until next time. Bye.